Well, welcome to Loot Shooter Weekly, or weekly show on Thursday night. We cover all types of loot shooters, primarily three though. Borderlands 3, Division 2, and occasionally but rarely Destiny 2. And I am gamertag Burt Reynolds, and my co-host, as always, is the one and only golden voice of gaming, Negan Killjoy.
Hello, Burt. And as usual,
Hello,
how are you
Negan.
doing tonight? How's your Thursday treating you?
I'm doing all right tonight, Negan. I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. Doing well. It's Thursday, and I'm looking forward to getting a cold beer going here in a couple minutes. So,
Me too.
it's
Me too. And I'm super excited tonight to show you this build I put together this week. The last, 3 or 4 episodes we've been featuring Moze builds. As I've kind of tried to work my way through to finding the one that I really, really like. And the one I have tonight, I really, really like. And I think I finally figured out just the way I want my Moze build. And this one turns out some insane amount of damage. An insane amount of damage. So we will talk about that in a minute, and we'll show it off a little bit in a minute. But what are you drinking tonight, Negan? I think it's your week to go first. So we'll
is my week to go first. So tonight, as you know, I like Hefeweizens. So tonight I am trying an infused Hefeweizen. It's called Blood Orange. It's called Cali Squeeze, and it's by Slow Brew Brewing Company. And they simply describe it as your main squeeze. We juiced up our Hefeweizen with loads of blood orange for a citrusy twist. This infused brew strikes a unique balance of sweet and tart to brighten up your day. So I had a really bad day yesterday where it was just busy and stuff like that. So today was much better. So I don't need a lot of brightening up, but it should be pretty good. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Good. I like it.
I like blood orange and I like Hefeweizen. So hopefully it's a nice, good mix, good combination of the two of them. And
excellent.
What are you doing tonight? I know you were kind of excited about yours tonight too. You had a special mug or something like that.
I'm gonna pour mine in a mug. I went the other direction. I'm feeling dark and down. No.
Oh, there you go.
I went emo, black. It's
You start playing some emo music for you in the background.
I've got it. Yeah, I'm playing my emo music, and I'm gonna be sad tonight. No.
Okay.
This is Neapolitan Milk Stout, and it's from Sagatuck Brewing Company in Michigan, made in Michigan. The tagline is "Drink Your Dessert," and
okay.
A creamy milk stout with all the brilliant flavors of Neapolitan ice cream in one glass. Taste the rich flavors of chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry in this unique beer.
That definitely does sound unique. I don't think I've ever heard a beer describe itself as Neapolitan.
Yeah, so we're going to give that a roll. And I am pouring it into a glass. I'm not going to drink it. Not going to drink it out of the can because that would be totally uncivilized when it comes to a milk stout. So
right. I think the cops get called on people like that and get arrested and stuff.
Cheers, Negan.
Cheers, buddy.
That's good. All right.
Let's talk about your build. Let's talk about that. Do you want to talk about the patch first? What came out? And stuff like that.
Yeah. Why don't you talk a little bit about the patch? I mean, what event are we running this week? What's going on?
This week is, I believe, the Iridium week.
It is.
So it's got a collection of Iridium that you can get all more Iridium and stuff like that because it is more useful nowadays because of the Iridium fabricator and stuff like that. But up until this point, it hasn't been terribly valuable for anybody.
You're looking at a guy who spent an hour tonight just shooting guns out of my Iridium gun fabricator.
All right. Well, in that case, I guess it is valuable to some people. Because what is it? 200 per gun or something like that?
Yeah, but sometimes you get 2 or 3 and you get, it's actually pretty fun. I am going to say, like, pick a time that you want to just have a little fun. I mean, you're going to get a lot of trash, right? I don't think.
Right.
Here's the sad thing. I was sitting on like 45,000 Iridium on my Moze, and I don't think I got a single thing I picked up. So that's not great. But I'm very out of bank space, so like it would have to be awesome for me to pick it up. Like unbelievable. But the cool thing is, it's not just legendaries. It's also past mission rewards. So you can get, yeah, I mean, it's like I was getting the hunted blue sniper rifle that kills robots with anointments on it. I got, yeah, I mean, it was fun. Like, it was fun to see some of that loot. It's the stuff that could show up in Crazy Earl's vending machine, plus all world drop legendaries.
Okay. All right. So that makes sense. It's doing some stuff for you, and I guess it's worth the 200. And then the big one, so yeah, it's the Iridium that they call Show Me the Iridium event. They did they replaced some Mayhem 4 gear with Mayhem 6 and the Guardian Takedown. They also increased the health of some stuff, but the big ones are, I think, well, we didn't talk about it directly yet, but all the gun buffs that they went through. They buffed a whole bunch of guns.
Yeah, yeah. Some fun ones.
Interesting ones. Yeah, some fun ones, and a lot of the ones. So which one of the list can you remember off the top of your head which one you like the most that they upgraded that you're looking forward to?
Without a doubt. Now I'm on the hunt for a 2X Ogre with 5150 on it. The Ogre was one of my favorite guns, has always been one of my favorite guns to run on Moze. And because, man, if you need grenades back, that gun does tons of splash damage and critical hit damage, and it's an awesome gun. So, but I don't know that they made it awesome enough. I mean, who knows, right? So I want to find one, and of course that can come, because it's Vladoff, it can come in a 1X or a 2X variant. So I want very specifically the 2X.
Right, and according to the data mine stuff that I've found or that I've seen, they increased it by 56% was the damage they increased. The Ogre.
So that should be pretty significant.
Okay, good. It's almost.
And yeah, I mean that's a big buff. It's a big buff.
But what about the Lyuda? They increased the Lyuda about 50%. I mean, do you think that one's going to be viable in the near future? Do you think that's viable again? Because a lot of people were running that one before, and then they kind of.
I think that has they didn't just buff the damage on that one; they buffed the reload speed. Because the Lyuda's always been semi-viable until Mayhem 10 came out. It was still very viable, all the way up through Mayhem 4, and it was on the edge of viable with Mayhem 10. But the problem is between the fact that it only barely was in the viable category from a damage standpoint, and the thing chews ammo.
Right.
And has to be reloaded constantly. It was not a good DPS machine because you were spending as much time reloading as you were shooting. So they buffed the reload speed on it also. So very much I think it could be. The other one I'm super excited about, and I actually had some of these in my bank so I can test them right away, is
ASMDs.
the Star.
You're looking for ASMDs. Yep, that's the bitchin' gun now. That's what you're looking for.
The Star Helix, which they buffed the damage on the Star Helix enough that could end up, looking at that, when I looked at it in my bank, that could be one of the most powerful assault rifles aside from, the ones that came from the cartel event that I've seen. I mean, the one I have in my bank is like, because it's a 3X, and I want to say it was like 7,100 damage times 3. It's significant. That's not nothing.
yeah.
So
about 76%. So that's a pretty good buff.
Yeah, that's a good buff.
All right.
Yeah. So cool stuff, and obviously
a whole bunch of guns.
The monocle, the AMSD. I've seen some people testing the storms, the Firestorm and the Storm, and people saying that's viable now. So those were always fun. I'm glad to see that. They buffed the AMSD. Haven't played with that yet, but I'm pretty sure we'll get one tonight.
Okay. All right.
Because they drop like candy.
Yes,
they do. They're everywhere.
And monocles drop everywhere, exactly.
Right. The Head Explosion, which I think a lot of people were excited about. That's another one that I know they buffed, and people like that gun, and wanted it to be good. So
good. Yeah,
it should be fun.
That one. Well, good. Yeah, so those are the guns. Recursion, they increased the ricochet cap from 5 to 7. Yeah, so it's a whole bunch of buffs.
I don't think the Recursion one, that's been a hot topic, right? Because the Recursion was the go-to shotgun on your Amara build since day one. The last patch, true patch, they capped So it used to have an uncapped amount of projectiles and bounces.
Right.
And then they capped it at 5 for all guns. So anything that ricochets is capped, which was a soft nerf to guns like the redistributor, right? The redistributor lost power when they did that. And it was a huge nerf to Amara and the recursion. Like massive. And everybody had to struggle. Yeah, and to that end, I mean, everybody had to rebuild their Amara builds, right? Because everything had been focused around, like absolutely everything had been focused around ricochet and the driver and other things like that. And then everybody had to kind of figure something else out. Now, Amara is so OP that it doesn't really matter. People quickly recovered, but the recursion did not. Increasing it from 5 to 7 is nice, but that's not going to fix it. It's not like the gun's not going to go back into heavy rotation for anyone that I can think of.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Yeah. So those are the patches. Like I said, those are the different guns. Obviously, people can go to the patch notes online and see them all and stuff like that. So Let's now, since we're talking about damage and guns and all that good stuff, what build did you put together for us tonight? It's a Moze build, obviously. And what are we calling this one? Are we calling this another monster one so we can go roar when we're talking about it?
No. I called this one the Blood Red Pearl.
Oh, it goes with my blood orange drink.
Because the whole purpose of this... It does. It goes with your blood orange. The reason I did that is because the whole goal I had here, basically to figure out a way to run a 1 HP build without running a Deathless.
And why is that? Why didn't you want to run the Deathless? Was there just something new that you wanted to find, or?
Well, so here's the thing, right? When you run Deathless, you're going to run a Bloodletter. And the Bloodletter is all about healing, the Bloodletter comm. What it basically says is a Bloodletter comm is going to allow you to heal your shields instead of your health, because you don't have any health. You have 1 health. You'll notice I have 1 health tonight.
Yes, you do.
So that's not about pushing damage. And the Deathless build that gives you 1 HP, or the Deathless artifact that gives you 1 HP, is also in no way about damage. So you're fully relying on the damage coming from your skill tree. Basically, you're going to push splash damage out of the blue tree, and you're going to push Desperate Measures, which gives you additional gun damage based on how low your health is. So I got to thinking, what if...
Sitting around, talking to yourself, what if...
Well, I was theory crafting a couple things. One, usually when I run a Deathless build, and pretty much anybody who does, is going to do one of a couple things. They're going to run probably an Old God to try and push elemental damage. If I run an Old God with a Deathless, the Deathless artifact doubles your shields, doubles your shield recovery rate, and reduces the time till your shield can recover, right? So it gives you this massive shield, and the massive shield can refresh faster and run better, basically, more efficiently. And then you're healing it with the Bloodletter. The thing is, with a Deathless build, your problem is never survivability. And you know this from running with me when I run a Deathless build. When you go down with a Deathless build, it's because some sort of damage bypassed your shield. There are damage types in this game that do bypass your shield, like area of effect damage, like if somebody shoots you with a rocket launcher, or a boss that lays big puddles on the ground of elemental damage. It's going to bypass your shield. You're just going to go down. It's just part of running 1 HP is you're going to go down from time to time, but it's never an issue of I'm being shot too much.
Okay.
And so when you run a Deathless build, and you're going to have there's a talent in the skill tree called Phylanix Doctrine that when you're getting kills, it's going to increase your shield. So at times, if I put an Old God on and a Deathless, I'm going to have a shield over 100,000. And then when I start killing things, it's going to go to 150,000. And at no point do I even dip back down to 100,000. You know what I mean? I'm always up over 100,000, and I'm very tanky. Moze is a tank. That's her role. That's the tank build. Where I struggle is turning out enough damage to really kill at a very effective rate. Can I do it? Yeah, I've run Deathless builds through, the Mal1 takedown, no problem, solo, whatever, but it's a little bit slow. Then when we were running the builds we've been running the last couple weeks, we've been running 5150, no Deathless, tried to run it with a Pearl. It doesn't work, so you have to run an auto idle and a stopgap.
Right.
To try and keep yourself alive. So now I'm pushing a lot of damage, but I'm very easy to kill. And most of the time I'm killing myself with my own splash damage, right? We talked about that last week. So I was like, well,
what if... you try to tank and get up close and personal and splash damage impacts you that way. So that makes, makes for problems. Yep.
And of course, the purpose of min-maxing, if you think about, true min-maxing in an RPG, right? You're trying to minimize any overage that you have and maximize anywhere where you're weak. When I was thinking about min-maxing, right, I'm thinking about the fact that my shield, when I'm running Deathless, is way, way, way too big. I don't need all that. If I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down because something's going to bypass the shield. It's not because my shield doesn't have enough health, and I need to turn more damage. So, what if I could run a Bloodletter and a Pearl, still be at 1 HP, but not run the, obviously then I wouldn't be running Deathless. And how could I do that? How could I get to 1 HP and run a Pearl?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd lose out on my giant shield, but hey, you know what? I can survive on a lot less shield than I'm surviving on. And that would allow me to push damage. So that's
now
what
the real question is, how did you do that?
Doing.
How did you do that all?
So let's look at my skill tree. And we'll talk about what we've got here. Actually, let me show you what gear I'm running, and then we'll look at my skill tree. So I'm going to run, my primary gun again is going to be a flipper, and I've got this in every flavor. My primary anointment is going to be 5150 because I'm under 50% health.
For obvious reasons, yep.
Yep. So, I'm running a light show, I'm running a flipper, I'm running a boomsicle, and I'm running a plague bear.
That's right.
And I have my Bloodletter with 3 into desperate measures, which is going to allow me to push the weapon damage as much as possible. And here I have splash damage, weapon damage, and weapon mag size. So that's good. Going to buff the splash damage, weapon damage, and I am going to have to reload in this build every once in a while. So it's not like a couple of the ones we've showed in the last few weeks that have a lot of...
Whoa, hang on. What? Did you just say a Moze build has to reload?
Not often, but occasionally occasionally I'm actually going to have to reload. It's a trade-off for the gun damage.
That's new. That's something I haven't heard with a Moze build before. Okay, all right. Let's see how you do with that one. It'll be fun to watch you have to reload on occasion.
And here I'm running a Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge with fire rate and mag size. So again, all damage focus here, right? I'm 100% damage focus, but Moze is one of the few builds that can keep the Pearl stacked because of her constant fire and the grenades that she's throwing. And I'm going to heal myself with the Cloning Maddening Tracker. I'm going to show the shield last. I'm running a front loader. Now that front loader would drop me to 40% health, right? We use that in some of the other builds we've shown in the last few weeks. I'm using one with the gain 75% increased shields and health for 25 seconds after Xing the Iron Bear. And I'm running one that it's a bullet buffet, so it's going to absorb 30% of the damage that I receive from bullets. And I'm not going to take that damage. So I basically get a 30% damage reduction. And it's a front loader, so it's got quite a bit of size to it. Meaning when I buff it up using the skill tree, I'm going to end up with 54,000 shield.
Which is a good shield, because I'm sitting at 25, so you're double mine, but my build isn't necessarily optimized or min-maxed all the way. But still pretty good shield.
So then when we look at the skill tree, I'm going to do my standard blue skill tree. This is exactly what I run on every build. 5 into fire in the Skag Den, 3 in means of destruction. That's going to give me back my ammo. Torque Crush promotion to buff the splash damage and make the size of it larger. Pull the Holy Pin for grenade critical hit chances. Auto bear, because I am going to bear hop, and I'm going to bear hop a lot. Vampire is my healing from the grenades, and that's how I'm going to get myself healed with those cloning mending trackers. I've got explosive punctuation to help my cooldown so that I can get my Iron Bear back as quickly as possible. I'm going to run short fuse for obvious reasons, because that's between that and Fire in the Skag Den, that is what is buffed by the mayhem damage and your action skill damage and everything else. And that's really where I get the bulk of the kick for the damage in the build. Or at least one place I get it. In the green tree, I'm going to run 5 into Cloud of Lead. I'm going to run 3 into Stoke the Embers. I'm going to run 1 into Redistribution. I'm going to run 1 into Scrappy just to get down the skill tree. And then I'm going to put 5 into Scorching RPMs. I'm going to buff up my rate of fire as much as I possibly can. Again, just ability to do DPS, right? And then this is where the real focus. Yeah. This is the real key right here. So 5 into Armored Infantry. As I come down here, I'm going to put 5 into Vladoff Ingenuity, which is going to buff my shield size by 30%. And I'm going to put 2 points into Thin Red Line. And this is how we get to 1 HP. So the front loader is going to reserve 60% of my health and put it into my shield. And this is going to reserve another 40% of my health and put it into my shield, giving me 100% of my shield being reserved and put in, or 100% of my health being reserved and put into my shield. So now I'm at 1. That's how I get to 1, Negan.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I only put 2 into Drowning in Brass. Drowning in Brass is good because it does give you weapon damage, so I get 16% after a kill. However, it slows my fire rate down, which is counterintuitive against putting things into Scorching RPMs, right?
Right.
So I don't want a lot into this. I had to put something into it to get down the skill tree a little further, but it's not super valuable. And then I put 3 into Desperate Measures, which gives me gun damage up to 100%. So between the Pearl, which goes to 115, and this, which goes to 100, once I start firing, I'm getting 215% weapon damage. Plus, on my grenade, you'll notice I get 25% weapon damage for 6 seconds when I throw a grenade, and I'm going to be throwing grenades all the time.
Because not only for the weapon damage, but for the healing as well. So you're double dipping on what you're getting the grenade out of the grenades.
Yep. Then I'm going to do 150% radiation damage. You'll notice I don't have radiation on any of these guns. They're all a different element because I want to do another element of damage to radiation. I get incendiary from the tree, the incendiary damage from Stoke the Embers and from Fire in the Skag Den. So I'm going to get incendiary damage, whatever damage is on the weapon, plus the rad damage.
And where are you getting the rad damage from again?
The 5150. So that's going to give me another 15% weapon damage because of Harmageddon, which basically reads, enemies take 5% more damage per unique status effect affecting them. So I am stacking a crap ton of constant weapon damage, just consistent weapon damage, and elemental skill damage.
Yes,
all in a build that when I go down, it's not because I don't have shields. As long as I can throw grenades, I'm going to stay alive, is basically what's going to happen here. And I'm going to hop in and out of my Iron Bear, which I'll show you this right now while we're out here, and then I'll show it to you when we're actually fighting. But when I get out here, watch what happens to my shield. Because I'm getting both 75. I'm getting 75% more shields and 75% more health. So I'm getting 150% more total. So I bump up to 87. If I get the 2 stacks from my comm, even though I'm not down there in the skill tree, my comm gives me Phylanix Doctrine. This is going to buff my shields up as well. And it's multiplicative. So my shields will often go well over 100,000 while I'm shooting.
Okay.
And so I'm still tanky.
Absolutely.
But boy, howdy, have I pushed damage. We were talking earlier about the damage formula, right? You want multipliers, not additives. But the first number in the damage formula is weapon damage. So I am getting multipliers in here. I've got splash damage. I've got at least three elements of damage. I can set my Iron Bear to an element I'm not using. And while the Iron Bear Auto Bear is active, if it's doing, say, cryo damage, I'm also going to get the bonus for that element. Right? Because I don't have cryo right now in my build. So I will get, you want to pair your augments on your Iron Bear to give you the other, damage type that you're not currently getting. So I'm getting all these elements going. I got the splash damage going. I got the weapon damage going. And I've got some area effect damage going, although I don't have anything buffing the area of effect. Those damage numbers get crazy. And I'm able to sustain it. That's the real trick with Moze, right? Sustained fire. So you will see I do occasionally have to reload. It really only happens if I run out of targets to shoot at any given moment. Or if I'm not throwing grenades fast enough. So I'm a little on the edge of having to reload every once in a while. I think I ran the Malwan takedown by myself last night, solo takedown. I did it in 20, I think it was 21 or 24 minutes, I think. And I reloaded 4 times using this gun. I did the whole takedown with the gun I'm holding, the flipper I'm holding, and I reloaded, I think, 4 times.
Dang. Okay. So I may not reload while we're doing this tonight.
You will not see me reload fighting Trant. No.
Okay. All right.
You won't.
Little disappointed, but okay.
You won't see Trant for very long.
Right. Okay.
So there's that. Just saying. So, the Blood Red Pearl, Bloodletter Pearl. If you're looking to push damage on a Moze build, I am, pretty confident, especially after all the other stuff we've just recently tested. You're not going to... The only thing I can think of that might push damage further on this would be to run a Bloodletter, but then run a one-shotter shield, which of course buffs your, weapon damage by a significant amount. For one shot, drains your shields. And so every so many shots when your shield's full, it's going to amp the damage. Single point, if you were going to come in and boss, like just do some bossing, like say Grave Ward, you'd probably be better off with a Deathless comm to get a really big shield, put a one-shotter on, which doesn't have a very big shield capacity, and then run an ion cannon, 5150 2x ion cannon. That's probably the biggest single point damage you're going to do, but I don't think there's any other build that you could put together that's going to push weapon damage or damage overall harder across all situations, both mobbing and bossing, than this.
All right. It sounds
big
nice.
words.
Sounds like
big words. I said words. I made a lot of bold statements there.
You did. But to that, I'm going to go ahead and you go, you do this. You got this.
All right, let's go do this. And I'll show you what it can do.
I'm just going to sit back here and have some popcorn and, pop it in my microwave.
That's fine.
Okay, so pop into your Iron Bear.
Hopped in. Yep. I'm going to start throwing grenades. And then... when it gets into his health bar, he is just... Watch his health bar just drop. Boom, there goes his health bar.
That wasn't even a minute. Didn't even time it, but that wasn't even a minute.
And obviously we're scaled for 2 here. Yes, when I do it scaled for 1, and it's very, very quick.
I would only imagine how fast it goes when you're scaled for 1, just how fast he just disappears.
Right. And that's basically how you play this build. We'll go back to the start of Athenas, and I can show you, in our normal, where we normally test the mobbing. We'll show you what mobbing looks like on it.
All right, let's go mob. Let's go watch this thing in action. So again, describe, because you kind of talked about it briefly as you're taking down Trant. So describe your playstyle with this. Are you getting into the middle of it as a tank and going from there, or what's your playstyle? What's the play loop on this?
The nice thing about an Iron Bear is the Iron Bear acts a lot like a pet it really does. It will distract them. They're going to go. They're going to go after. Yeah, they're going to go after my Iron Bear. When I pop it up. So strategically speaking, I'm going to put the Iron Bear up, kind of in the middle of the action, and then I'm going to get out, and I'm going to let it do its work. And then, the play style is just pull the trigger and just don't stop. Basically, as long as I can shoot. Yeah, as long as I can find a target to put bullets on, I'm just gonna keep shooting. And as often as I can put the Iron Bear back up, I'm gonna put the Iron Bear back up, because you'll remember I'm getting at least a 5% damage buff from applying the corrosive damage that those railguns are churning out. And if I were running a corrosive weapon right now, then I would put on the miniguns with the cryo. Basically, whatever element I'm missing is what I'm going to put on, to buff that damage. And Iron Bear slays, man. My Iron Bear gets a lot of kills. It does. So it's definitely helpful, especially if you're playing solo. I don't know how many times in that takedown run last night, my Iron Bear got me a second win kill, or distracted. It's especially valuable on the Valkyries, man. Those Valkyries, you can prop your Iron Bear up on one side of the map and they'll just ignore you while you shoot them to death, because they're fighting
your. Seems advantageous.
Apparently they don't like robots. They're jealous. They don't want there to be any other robots. So they.
That's right. Makes sense. They're Valkyries. They're robots themselves. They don't like other robots attacking them.
But if you look right now, you can see my shield's was just over 100,000 right there.
Yeah, I'm watching your shield from this angle, and your shield isn't even going down from what I can tell. It's not. I very seldom see it dip down or go down or anything like that. And I'm not talking go down to zero. I'm talking just any adjustment. Well, it just did there, but a lot of the times it's staying at max from my view.
Right. Yeah, and so it's not. You think about min-maxing and where am I now? See there, I had to reload because I ran out of targets to shoot. But again, if you think about truly min-maxing, right, like I want to minimize any overage anywhere and turn it into maximizing something I'm missing. This, I feel like, is truly min-maxing the Moze build. I am not missing out on the survivability. I still have it.
Right. Looks like it.
But I am maximizing the damage, and I've basically turned what would be probably about 85,000 extra shields that I don't need into an extra 115% damage. Fair trade, man. Fair trade.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. And just anybody who's watching or watches this video and stuff like that, I'm just watching. I'm just eating popcorn back here and enjoying the view, because you're shooting everything. So this mobbing and how fast they're going down isn't because we're both shooting, isn't because I'm doing damage or anything like that. This is all you right now. So it's definitely doing some work, definitely putting down people and clearing the mobs and clearing the riffraff. And I feel like I should go kill Trooper Cobratch while you're doing this.
Oh no, let me go kill Trooper Cobratch. I want to go kill him.
And one shot.
Gone.
I got one shot in. I want to get one shot in. Boom.
You got one shotted?
No, I got one shot in.
Oh.
towards the end there. I just pulled off trigger once.
Yeah, I'm not letting you get any shots in there.
Yeah, you're really not.
Because this is usually the build I use to power level people.
I can see why. This definitely does some work as far as that goes. And scrap trapping with this build, I would assume, does some pretty quick work of scrap traps, because that's usually where you power level, right?
Yeah, I power level on scrap trap, and yes, it does. But I have to be really careful of like the barrel right here by Private Beans, because that barrel will go right past my shield and kill me instantly. So that I got to be careful of.
Well, and that's what you were saying. There is stuff that bypasses the shields. There's the barrels, and there's the pools of lava and stuff like that they can drop. So you do have to be aware of your surroundings a little bit.
That would happen to me whether I was running a Deathless or whether I'm running. If my shield was 160,000, it's going to bypass that shield either way. What difference does it make, right? Mm-hmm. Literally, what difference does it make? And stuff dies so fast, most of the time they don't even get to shoot me, you know? So, again, takedown run, under half an hour last night solo, no problem, no deaths. I did go down a couple times, but it was totally to elemental damage, and it probably could have been avoided. I did that at like 11 o'clock last night, so I definitely wasn't, my head was not 100% in the game. I was a little tired. It had been a long day at work. I'm loving it, man. I don't know what to tell you. I am like in love with this build. I'm totally in love with this build. I'm totally in love with the fact that I found a way to make it work. I'm getting to take advantage of that, because you figure by the time we hit there, right, by the time I've thrown 2 grenades and taken one couple second shot, that pearl is 100% stacked, and it's staying stacked.
Good.
Which is
that's a plus.
Ridiculous amount of damage.
Yeah, it does seem like you're dropping these guys with very little effort, with very little ammo usage as well. And you're running the little Healy Avengers or whatever it's called, so they got the healing drone with them too, so that doesn't seem to be causing any problems. Not that usually does.
No. The kind of damage this is putting out, those little Healy drones aren't going to do crap. Reloading. I did have to reload there because it requires you to be a little, you need to be on, right? You need to be on, you need to be hitting crits. You can't just, I think sometimes, and this is probably, I'm going to just be honest, this is probably why I like the Deathless build, have always liked the Deathless build so much, is you can be a really lazy FPS player with that. It's like just kind of point in the general direction and shoot stuff. And eventually it's going to go down. I don't even really have to aim normally. This does reward crits, so you're going to want to shoot for the head instead of just, body shotting everything. And the reason for that is those crits will, they will trigger short fuse, which will trigger means of destruction, which gives you your ammo back. And that's it. We mobbed our way all the way back to Tront. Just like that.
That was pretty fast. That was doing some work really quickly.
And I don't have more ammo than when I started, but I only have about 100 less for that whole thing. So again, ammo consumption is not perfect, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
No, absolutely not. All that shooting and all the gunplay you're having there and only being down 100 shots or 100 bullets isn't bad at all.
No.
And you said that you really like this build, and I almost want to say I heard you say this is now your favorite build. Is this now your favorite build that you're going to run a lot, or?
This is by far and away my favorite Moze build. Honestly, Negan, it's funny because I think my favorite build, I was thinking about that the other day, was probably the last one I leveled up, which is my my Gamma Burst Flak.
Flak?
I've grown to love Flak. I really have, yeah. Yeah.
So you love Flak, so that's your favorite build overall, but for Moze, this build for Moze, even
without
though the
a
ones
doubt.
that you
Without a doubt
are fun.
They're fun.
Is clearly your favorite.
They're fun and they have their unique purposes, and it's not like I would never use them, but this is by far and away my favorite.
Good. And it seems unique. I don't think I've seen anything put together like this before, so it seems pretty unique too.
I went and did a lot of searching, on YouTube to see when I was coming up with this. I was like, has somebody done this before? Am I just going to be repeating? I did not find, at least from any of the major Borderlands streamers, any of the people I would normally watch, I did not find this build from anyone or anything like that. So I haven't seen it really. Now, I will say, it's not very gear dependent, but the front loader, this is a big part of this build being as viable as it is. You certainly would need a front loader with that anointment on it. You don't need this exact front loader, but you would need a front loader with that anointment on it for this build to be as strong as it is. That is probably the most gear dependent thing in here, right? You're going to want all 5150 weapons. Doesn't have to be these ones. You're going to want a pearl. It doesn't have to have these rolls. You're going to want a bloodletter. I would recommend that you do have a bloodletter that's got 3 into desperate measures. You're going to need the cloning maddening tracker. But that's on every Moze. Every Moze needs a cloning maddening tracker, or something like it. That's going to be the thing. But it's not uber gear dependent like some builds. The builds we've featured the last couple weeks are pretty gear dependent. In order to make them really work. This is not that gear dependent.
Okay, well, good. Well, good.
Cool.
I'm glad to see you found a new build that you enjoy that's not your favorite as far as Moze goes. And I think I have to agree with you. The Gamma Burst Flak is a lot of fun too. So.
Oh, it is. It is.
I haven't quite tuned into my Amara just yet, so I'm not putting her on the top of my list. Although she's supposed to be one of the top one or something like that. Is what everybody tells me.
She's the most OP of all the Vault Hunters by default. I mean, if you watch any Moxie videos, he'll put weird builds together that just use the ties that bind and any 390 weapon that he's not even shooting, and her ties that bind will kill things. So I mean, she's strong.
Well, I'm still leveling her through the story, so there's that punishment that I'm going through right now. It's story mode again.
Yes.
I'm punishing myself because the attention span I have, but that's for another day. We'll talk about that stuff for another day. And so cool. I'm glad to hear it. That was a good build. I like it.
Yeah,
I may have to
fun.
get the pieces and talk to you about building out my Moze for that stuff too.
I think that would be good.
How fast we take down the takedowns. Aha.
I'm guessing pretty quick. I'm guessing they'd be
you do it solo
quick.
20 minutes. Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. So with that, Negan, how are you liking that blood orange Hefeweizen that you are drinking?
Oh, it was gone a while ago.
Oh, was it?
It's really good. It is really good. It's very refreshing. It has a nice kind of orange, an orange juice. I don't want to say it tastes like orange juice necessarily, but it has kind of that really good infused flavor to it. So it's really kind of got that blood orange flavor to it. It tastes like a Hefeweizen as well. It is really good. It did not take me long to drink it. So I'm glad it's a low ABV because I can see having a 6-pack of these and them disappearing and you not realizing where they went. That's how fast you could drink them. So I'm glad they're relatively low ABV. But it's really good. Again, this is a Cali Squeeze Blood Orange Hefeweizen from Slow Brew Brewing, which is out of San Luis Obispo, California. So I don't know if you get it where you're at, but local people in California should be able to get it. And I've seen it at when we got this from Trader Joe's. So there we go.
Oh, really?
Nice. Mm-hmm.
I've not yet seen it, but I haven't been to Trader Joe's in a while, so maybe I'll have to check next time I'm over there and see if they have it.
There you go.
I know Trader Joe's is stocking Montucky, but not here.
Oh, that's right. I'm just torturing you. I got Montucky's. I got this really good Hefeweizen now. Yeah, I just have to torture you now. So it's not our show unless we talk about Montucky for at least a quick shout out. That's right, at least once. And speaking of torture to make yourself feel better, how is your beer?
I like it a lot, actually. I like it a lot. It's weird because it's summer. No, that was the can. No, this is going to be this is an all-nighter right here. It's sips, light sips.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I see it.
It's I've gone through that much of it, Negan. I've not much. I have not gone through much. It is heavy. That is a heavy beer. But it's delicious. It is dessert. Their promise,
so Neapolitan.
Yeah, when they say,
dessert in a glass.
Yeah. Flavors one glass. Taste the rich. Yeah. Drink your dessert. Yep. It is dessert, and it's delicious, but it's going to take me the remainder of the evening to get through it for sure.
Nice. And what was it called again? It was a Nitro Milk Stout?
No, this is the original Neapolitan Milk Stout. It's not a nitro. It's definitely not a nitro pour. The mouthfeel's not there. There's no. We don't have
You're pulling that word out of the air. I like it.
The reason I actually bought this though, I do like other things from Sagatuck. That is a good brewery, but the actual reason I bought it is actually very low alcohol for a stout. It's only 5.5, which you and I have talked about. Usually with milk stouts and imperial stouts,
they can be pretty high, pretty heavy.
8, 9, 10. And man, just don't. My love of beer has nothing to do with a love of alcohol at all.
Right.
I like beer because I like the way beer tastes. The lower the alcohol, I think the happier I am with it, as long as the taste is there, and that's part of why I like Montucky, because I like to drink it. I want to be able to enjoy it, but this will be an all-night sipper for me.
Gotcha. Just because it's kind of a heavy, like you said, a mouthfeel and stuff to it. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
It's heavy and it is sweet. It's sweet. Like, for milk stouts are always sweeter and creamier, and but this one is particularly sweet and creamy. It does have a hint. It's just a hint of strawberry to it. It has a lot of vanilla and quite a bit of chocolate, but it's delicious. I like it. I would say it's an 8. I could probably have this 2 or 3 times a year and be happy.
Nice. All right. Did you have to commit to my normal question? Did you have to commit to a 6-pack, or did you only?
No, I did. I did have to commit to a 6-pack. I bought this, whatever that was, 3 weeks ago when we had the show, and I said, "Hey, I went to the liquor store 2 weeks ago, whatever."
Talking about that.
I bought this and I put it away, but yeah, I mean, this was a 6-pack purchase. Nice. So, right. But I might save the remainder of these for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Let it age.
People over.
Let it all nice.
Let it age. Let it cask age in the mini fridge.
Yeah. There you go. Put it down in your beer cellar and let it have the climate control and all that good stuff. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. And cool. So we called this the Blood Red Pearl Moze build. And
Blood Red Pearl Moze.
What was key to this build? Just real fast.
Yeah, sure. So the keys to this build is you're going to use a front loader. It has to have that 75% increased shields for 25 seconds and health. It's shields and health. So you get 150% when you're using a bloodletter, because all of that shields and health is going to go into your shield. And then in the skill tree, the real trick here is that I'm going to put 2 points in the thin red line, which is going to get me to 0 health, or you can't go any lower than 1, so it gives you 1 health. So basically, I'm aping. We did it last week, right? We aped a front loader by putting 3 into this, and then putting on an old god, and it gave the same effect as a front loader. Basically, using this talent plus a front loader to ape a Deathless artifact, and then because I don't have to run the Deathless artifact, I'm able to run the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, which is going to give me a huge damage buff. Between that and Desperate Measures and all of the incendiary damage I'm going to do and all the splash damage I'm going to do, I am going to have a ton of damage. And that's really what this build is about. It's about churning out massive amounts of damage. The only other key here is not to put too much into Drowning in Brass, because the damage buff you get here is not worth the debuff to fire rate. And so we don't want to put a bunch, just enough to get down the tree. And that's really it, man. I mean, that is legitimately it. It's pretty easy. And again, you want to always on Moze, because she doesn't have Amara's amazing ability to combine elemental skills, pair your augments to do the kind of damage you're not doing with your guns, so that you get the buff from Harmageddon for the additional damage source. Right, and that, my friend, is it. That's really that's the biz right there. So
that is the biz. Like I said, it tore through groups pretty well. So cool. I'm glad to hear it. So I'm glad you found a new build. I'm glad you found a new favorite Moze build. Like I said, we talked about the frozen monsters and stuff last week. Those are also fun, but it's your favorite. So we'll have to see how it does when the takedowns are procced for 2 people or 3 people. I can't imagine it's going to be a problem, but
I was gonna say I don't think it's gonna be a problem. That run I made last night is my fastest ever solo takedown run. So
nice,
faster than I've ever done with an Amara build, which that says something, because I've got a pretty min-maxed Amara build. So
well, good. So we had a couple good beers, good build, and on that note, see ya.